The Detroit Lions training camp hit a boiling point this week when head coach Dan Campbell was forced to halt practice twice in as many days due to on-field scuffles. On Thursday, the flashpoint involved two of Detroit's brightest stars, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. and defensive back Brian Branch, sparring repeatedly during early drills. According to The Athletic's Colton Pouncey, Campbell intervened soon after the tension boiled over. Open quote. Dan Campbell stopped practice today after several scuffles broke out in the early portion. Brian Branch and Amon-Ra St. went at it multiple times. Second day in a row practice was stopped. On Tuesday, it was for tackling in shorts. Pads go on tomorrow. They're ready. Close quote. This isn't merely undisciplined behavior. In fact, it's often a sign of a team bristling with competitive fire, especially one like the Lions that enters camp under legitimate Super Bowl expectations for the first time in decades. Monday's shorts-only tackling drills also spilled over into controlled chaos, prompting Campbell to remind the roster that emotional energy must be channeled productively. Why it matters. Both St. and Branch are cornerstone contributors on opposite sides of the ball. St. Brown, coming off a career-high 1,634 receiving yards in 2024, is the engine of a passing attack that ranked third in the NFL last season. Branch, a Pro Bowl talent in his second year, helped elevate Detroit's secondary into the top half of the league. When two franchise pillars clash, it magnifies both the stakes and the potential payoff, channeling that intensity into trap-setting blocks, contested catches, or lockdown coverage. Camp culture under Campbell. Dan Campbell has long cultivated a Battle Monday ethos in Detroit where physicality and fight are celebrated. Last year, a mid-camp free-for-all between linemen set the tone for one of the league's stingiest defenses. This week's skirmishes are an extension of that blueprint. Except now, the Lions must learn the boundary between feisty and flag-worthy. Campbell's swift practice shutdowns underscore his insistence on accountability. Players will compete hard, but only within the framework of team drills. What comes next? With pads going on Friday, the Lions will have a new outlet for their aggression. Properly harnessed, this frustrated energy could translate into explosive starts, sharper red zone execution, and a no-fly attitude in the secondary. Safeties, linebackers, and even special teams units will feed off the titans of effort set by St. and Branch. Ultimately, these scuffles, while headline-grabbing, may prove a blessing in disguise. If Detroit can temper its recklessness without dulling its edge, the Lions could carry this white-hot competitive spirit into the regular season and beyond. Camp fights become cage matches, become gridiron glory only when managed right, and the 2025 Lions look primed to strike that balance.